Bruh.
Hello? How? What?
It's pretty difficult to put into words how disgusted I am, how depressed I am.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys enjoyed that little early clip. It's from a guy on Twitter. I'll put his name on the screen right now. But basically, yes, today's discussion is going to be about skill-based damage. Is this conspiracy theory valid? Is there any truth to it? Well, I wanted to do some research. I wanted to do some actual hard-hitting, I guess, journalism, if you want to call it that, as cringe as it might be.
What did he say?
And I wanted to talk about, is this a real thing? Is skill-based damage a real thing? Is there something wonky going on in the world of Call of Duty when it comes to gunfights, right? I made a video on this previously where I kind of addressed it, but I didn't do a whole lot of research. It actually did pretty well, but I wanted to kind of capitalize and do a little more research on it. And I want to give you guys the best content possible. So if you enjoy this video, if you enjoy the gameplay, which I kind of pop off in this gameplay particularly, go ahead and drop a like, subscribe if you're new. I am sweating really hard trying to get this gameplay, trying to get my streaks, which is kind of abnormal for this channel. So hopefully you do enjoy it.
I was most definitely one of those motherfuckers.
All right, so let's talk about my honest thoughts about skill-based damage. All right, first off, yes, it's not a real thing. I know, surprise, surprise. Oh man, he clickbaited us, he got us. No, skill-based damage, I firmly don't believe is a real thing. However, there is something wonky going on in the world of Call of Duty, and I'm gonna try my best to kind of talk about it and explain why. Skill-based damage is this theory, if you don't know, where the game basically nerfs you in real time based on how well you are doing. There's obviously no proof to this, but I think basically people are saying like, oh, I'm a good player. Why is this gunfight taking 7 shots when normally it takes 4? You know, and that's kind of the gist. That's kind of what people are feeling. And sometimes me specifically too, I felt it, you know, where you're shooting at one person individually in the lobby. Like let's say his name is X, and you'll melt all these other players in the lobby. But then when you see X in a gunfight, bam, he just all of a sudden just melts you. You know, you feel like you're playing hardcore and you feel like your gun is just moving in molasses sometimes when it comes to like, you know, either aim assist or moving your mouse. And a lot of people put on their tinfoil hats and start thinking like, oh man, the game's nerfing me.
Shut up, bitch!
I think that there's a couple of other pretty valid reasons as to why this could be happening. So first off, the weapon performance feels inconsistent. Well, number one, I think the number one root cause here is terrible servers, right? Servers as bad as poo-poo chips here. Why are the servers so bad? So we all know servers important, but let's talk about why servers matter. There's a company out there that sponsors a lot of channels. If you want to sponsor me too, NetDuma, here I am. But I got this couple of paragraphs from NetDuma. I'm going to put it on the screen. They talk about why servers matter. You can kind of read it on yourself, but overall they say like, because Black Ops 6 has like such small maps, low ping and stable connection is more important than ever. And so you want to play on servers near your location. And obviously, as we know, Activision has openly admitted to skill-based matchmaking in the game. They say that based on the data, you know, it's better for the player retention. It's better for optimization.
I didn't.
Whether or not we believe that or not, I guess that's up to you and me. But personally, when I go 20-19, I don't feel like playing the next game, but that's just me. They say that the best way to get a low ping is to play by a server near your location. And so they basically try to set you up with a connection that's as close as possible. So they use like geo filters to force connections to your lowest ping servers. That also means that you won't be dealing with skill-based matchmaking super thick. Personally, like I said, I don't have a NetDuma at the moment. Again, I would be down to get sponsored, but yeah, I don't have a NetDuma. A main reason why so many people are convinced of this conspiracy is because of the terrible servers. And that's basically just because of skill-based matchmaking. Like Activision is actively choosing to do that. They're choosing to put you in worse and worse lobbies. And because of that, you're probably experiencing more desync, more bad hit detection, bad hit reg. And obviously that's going to lead to a lot of times where you're shooting 7 times in a row and the guy's taking as much damage as a YouTube comment. Like it ain't phasing him.
Boom.
roasted.
The terrible servers, yes, are indeed bad, but I think there's something else going on here. Previously in the past, Hertz or like tick rates and Hertz servers have been a very big controversial topic when it comes to Call of Duty. I think in Black Ops 4, we were actually talking about the Hertz servers, like the tick rate, for quite a while. And a lot of people were speculating that it was running on 20 Hertz, whereas most Call of Duty games at that point, not at that point, but other competition games were running at 60 Hertz.
He can't keep getting away with it!
It's actually now been proven that Black Ops 6 is running at 60 Hertz, Warzone's running at 20 Hertz. However, why are we still at 60 Hertz, right? Like, previous Call of Duty games have been running at 60 Hertz. Probably since about Black Ops 4, if I'm not mistaken. You can double check me in the comments. There's not a whole lot of information out there. I did try to do some research, but if you know somebody or something, or you worked on the game and you're watching this, go ahead and let us know in the comments. I figured out that Counter-Strike and Overwatch have 64 Hertz and games like Valorant have 128 Hertz. Now, I know Valorant is nowhere near as graphically intensive as something like Call of Duty or Apex or anything like that, so I'm not going to say like, oh, every game has to be like Valorant, 128 Hertz. I'm not, that blind to it. But it's important because a high tick rate is important for multiplayer games because it brings the gaming experience closer to what each player is experiencing. A low tick rate can reduce the precision of simulation and cause problems if the client and server simulations run at different rates. Basically, like, it's saying like how many like pieces of data, how many like images or whatever can we send to the server at one time. So if you're sending 60 per minute, you're sending 1 per second, and that's not bad, right? But if you're sending 20, then you're missing out on 40. And same with sending 60. If you're sending 60, you're missing out on another 60 if you could be sending 120. Now, I don't think Activision and Treyarch and all these guys, I don't think they're like actively choosing like, yeah, we're just gonna bottom out and minimize at 60 Hertz. I think that there's probably some reason why they can't go up, because I think in this day and age, especially with things like X-Defiant and other video game titles out there, like, I don't think they're like purposely cheaping out on things like that.
Somebody stop that nigga!
Especially when they go to such an extent to make sure that the skill-based matchmaking works like to perfection. They're making sure that you're staying on this game as long as possible. You're incentivized to buy microtransactions as long as possible. But yeah, guys, I wanted to bring this video up. I wanted to bring this to attention because I can't get on board with people thinking that skill-based damage is an actual like thing that's nerfing you in game. I don't think that there's an actual secret guy in Activision who's like pushing a lever or pushing a button every time you start to do well. Like, oh, let's see, the dynamite just got dropped like a chopper gunner in this gameplay. The next gameplay, I'm pushing the button. He has to, miss every like 5 shots or something like that, or it's going to take more damage because of this. Come to think of it, I think that there is a patent for this in like Activision's thing, Activision's like Arsenal or something, but I'm pretty sure I heard that it is only for single player games or PvE content. It's where you're playing against computers and bots. That I believe, and people are saying like, oh, well, if that's the case, then like, why couldn't they bring that into PvP? Why couldn't they do this in real life in our real Call of Duty games?
What?
Sure, you're right. They definitely could. Do you really think that they would do that? Do you think that they would go to that extent just to make sure that you're not having fun, right? Like, it's not even a thing that benefits people. I guess it benefits the bots that you're shooting sometimes, but is that really worth it? Are they going to really put in that much effort to, install that in the game? Like, that is quite a hefty accomplishment for someone to do, for some company to do, just to make sure that people are playing like slightly longer, just to make sure that bots don't completely rage quit. And if you ask me, if they wanted bots and bad players to not completely rage quit, then get rid of reverse boosting, get rid of that easy way to 2-box where people just jump into handicapped people's lobbies and just act like they're like optic scump when really they can't shoot their way out of a wet paper bag in normal skill-based matchmaking lobbies. Like, get them out of there.
What you say? What you say it again? Say it again!
That's such a common thing I'm seeing right now where literally everybody is 2-boxing. I'll probably make a video about this in the future. Everybody is just finding the easiest ways to circumvent the skill-based matchmaking, the bad connections. And I'm going to tell you right now, people who are 2-boxing, I'm probably sure they're not experiencing as much quote-unquote skill-based damage as other players, people who are playing in normal lobbies. And you want to know why? And I think that's also why it attests to why they say it's skill-based damage, because you're not playing with people of your skill level. But I think people in these skill-based damage, like quote-unquote sweat lobbies are experiencing more sweat because the players are also moving at a critically higher speed, right? Like the article Neduma said, because Black Ops 6 is so fast paced, it's harder and harder to land your shots, right? People are sliding, people are diving, people are on the prone. The damage multipliers, I'll put that picture up on screen right now too. It is nowhere near as consistent as previous Call of Duties have been. And for some reason, right, like the headshot multiplier, like Ace already talked about this. When it comes to getting headshots, you're not even guaranteed like that much more damage. It's like, what, maybe like 1 damage more or something like that. Like it doesn't incentivize you, and it's still the same shots to kill if you shoot someone in the head versus the chest or legs. And so sometimes, you know, we're conditioned from Call of Duty to think like, okay, like I shot him like 4 times in the chest and 1 time in the head, like he should be dead. Where sometimes maybe it's just purely like a 6 to 7 shot gun at that point. And then other times you shoot them like, you know, 3 times in the pinky toe and then like once to the chest, and then boom, all of a sudden they're dead. And you're like, whoa, how did that happen? You know, I felt that. I felt that like skill-based damage, the reversed opposite, where it's like, how come that guy was like so much easier to kill, right? Like that doesn't make any sense. And I feel like Activision's, I don't know, it just feels like they're up to something. Let's be real here.
Stop the cap.
I can't prove it. I don't think anyone in this planet, anyone in this Call of Duty space can prove it or not. I don't think skill-based damage is a real thing. Skill-based matchmaking obviously is, and because of that, you're probably experiencing worse and worse servers, which leads to worse and worse hit detection, which makes your weapon performance feel inconsistent. Now, I don't think this is the only thing. I think tick rate has to do with it. I think Omni movement has to do with it. But either way, people are up in arms. The pitchforks are out right now. Let me know what you think. Is skill-based damage a real thing? If not, what do you think it is? And if so, what is your proof for it, right? Do you have damage calculations? Do you have anything besides, oh, he should have died when I shot him? Because that's not going to change anybody's mind, okay? You have to have actual proof to prove something, right?
That makes sense to me.
That's it for the video, guys. I think by the time this video goes up, we should be at 10,000 subscribers. So if you are new, feel free to leave a like, subscribe if you're new. Thank you so much for getting me to 10K subscribers. I appreciate this community. You guys watching, make sure to leave a like and share this video with your friends if you haven't. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Peace out, bitch.